Hello. Okay, there we go. What is going on? Okay, now we're good. I thought I hit the button. I did not hit the button. We are. Ooh, don't need to hear myself. Okay, we're good now. Hi, Wags. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Vinny. Oh my goodness, you guys. Okay, we made it. We did it. I am riding the struggle bus today. It's fine. I forgot to. Yeah. Uh huh. Okay. Oh my word. That is what I have to say about this because my brain is not firing on all cylinders. Oh my gosh. I hit the start broadcast button and didn't hit the go live button. And hi, Kathy. You were confused? Me too. Clearly, because I was like, what did I do? I literally had to pull up the YouTube on my phone because I was like, wait a minute. What did I forget? And it was the button that says go live. Oh my word, you guys. I am. This is just. Oh, okay. We're here. We made it. You were thinking you're finally on time. You popped in, Kelly, right as I hit the button. And I thought I thought we were good. We were not. We were not good. Hi, Becca. We were in fact not good. But that's okay. And I was talking about how I feel like because I have to reset up this, I know, right? Because I have to reset up my rig here every week. I feel like I never like where I am. If I go that way, what is that? Nope, that's the wrong way. It's like, why is it just the logo? I know, right? Oh my gosh. Y'all, it's fine. We did it. We figured it out. Hooray. No, you were all exactly where you were trying to be. I was alone in my OBS, and now my mic is like not. There we go. I was alone in my OBS. I hope it was a good conversation. I was just talking about how my brain is not functioning, so that tracks with exactly what I was just saying anyway. And I was saying how when I was trying to get ready, I was upstairs like, fixing my hair and doing my bangs are like okay, and doing all the things, and my dog decided that was a great time to throw up on the floor. So I had to like stop everything. I was talking to myself, which is not abnormal, but that's okay. That's a whole nother. It's a whole nother podcast. But yeah, my dog decided that that was the perfect time, like 11:45, to throw up all over the floor. So I was like, yep, okay, guess I'm stopping that. So then I sat down here and I got all ready and I was all situated. And then I was like, why does my video look so weird today? Oh, I forgot my ring light. I had to go get that. It's just, you know, I know, right? So it's all good. We made it. We're here. He's good. He does this thing where I have just you looking at it. That's literally what it was, Sarah. That's literally what it was. I was like, no one is no one is saying anything to me, which like is fine. It's not a big deal. I love that you guys come in here to talk to each other, but at the same time I was like something seems not right. But no, my dog does this thing where he doesn't eat. And then when he goes so long without eating, it upsets his stomach and makes him throw up. So that's what we were dealing with. But he is perfectly happy snoozing on the couch next to me now. So we are all good with that. But yeah, it was an adventure. Always an adventure on Fridays, getting myself ready and situated for what I'm supposed to do, which is come and talk to you lovely people. And today we're talking about Star Wars. So it's been a minute since we talked about much Star Wars stuff on Mom Street, since Stevie did some episodes on Star Wars with us. But I'm excited to talk about Disney World and Disneyland and all the Star Wars stuff that is on both coasts. So that will be fun. It will be fun. I know. He's fine. Literally could not be bothered right now. But I have to make a spot for him on the couch every time I do Mom Street, or else it is the end of the world. Because if he cannot lay on the other end of the couch from me, he will do nothing but boop me the entire time. So yes, he is happy when I sit still, because then he can just lay and not have to follow me from room to room, which is what he does most of the day, is just follow me from room to room. So yeah, Sarah. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started so I can get my brain in gear here. You were so coordinated with your ears, shirt, and nails. The nails were unintentional. I just picked out, I've got my, you guys can't see it, my Four Town shirt on today. It was the first shirt I saw when I got out of the shower this morning. So the nails and the ears, I stole them from my daughter because I didn't want to wear any of my ears, so I took a pair of hers out of her room. And they haven't been worn in as much as mine. So like they're a little tight on my noggin, but that's okay. It's short and worth it. So, and they've got cute little, I don't know if you guys can see, little characters all over them. I loved this line that they came out with. I don't know if you can see. There's like got the train and what's on this side? I can't. Oh, is that from someone from Haunted Mansion? And then they've got stuff on the back too, but I'm not going to take them off right now because I don't want to have to re-put them on my head and mess with my hair. So I can show them to you later, because there is a Darth Vader on the back side, which was part of the reason why I stole that this pair, because I have no Star Wars ears somehow. So yeah. Oh, I totally put my hair in my coffee. That tracks. That tracks. I was like, why is my hand wet? We're fine. It's fine. It's good. All is well here. Oh my word. Okay. Man, I just washed my hair too. Oh, it's like fully. Okay, time out. Time out. This is why I need to get my hair cut. It is too long. It's fine. I'm fine. Literally me right now, Wags. Literally me. Okay, that's fine. I will handle that later. Okay. Shall we talk about Star Wars? My brain can't handle anything else right now. We're on topic. We're focused. We're going to do it. Okay. Okay, now I got to make sure I'm hitting the right button. Start recording. Beautiful. Okay. Welcome everybody to Mom Street USA. My name is Jackie, aka Wishes Mama, and on today's episode of Mom Street, we are returning back to what I feel like is a Mom Street community favorite topic, and that is Star Wars. So today we are talking about the perfect Star Wars day, and we are going to talk about both Disney World and Disneyland. You will find that they are fairly similar, but we'll talk about maybe some of the similarities and differences in what you can find on both coasts. And I will also give you kind of like what I would do if I were going to plan to spend an entire day doing only Star Wars things. So that little mini itinerary, so to speak, is coming up soon. But let's go ahead and jump in, because we are calling all Star Wars fans, because this episode is for you. Again, I thought it would be helpful to talk about this because I know that it is a favorite topic of a lot of our community members here at Mom Street. And I also thought it would be helpful to compile a single episode where you can find all of the Star Wars stuff from the parks in one place. We are going to do this with a couple other topics coming up on future episodes. So I know I've got it in the plans to talk about the perfect princess day and also perhaps the perfect Mickey Mouse themed day. But if there are others you want to hear, please let me know either in the comments or, reach out to me, because I would love to do some kind of character or IP focuses going forward. These episodes are super fun. So we are going to hit the Disney World and Disneyland Star Wars aspects in this episode. So no matter if you're looking east or west, we have got you covered for sure. Now, a brief disclaimer before we jump into all of the really good Star Wars information today, and that is, this is just our best suggestions and everything that I could recall from my brain and look up for all of the things Star Wars. You can adjust your plan, you can alter this plan based on what your travel party needs, but also there are limited time things that pop up that probably are not going to be mentioned in this episode very much because it's not the norm, right? So we're looking here at what is currently the norm for the Star Wars areas on both coasts. So with that, we are going to be starting at Walt Disney World. And like I mentioned, we'll jump to Disneyland here in a little bit. And I've kind of got this broken down into some categories for you guys. So we're going to talk attractions, we're going to talk shows and entertainment, characters, we're going to talk food, shopping, and then just like other fun things that kind of don't fall into any of those categories as well. So kind of covering all of that for each coast is the plan. So we're going to start at Disney World with the attractions because I feel like that's the first thing that comes to everybody's mind when they're thinking about what Star Wars things they want to plan to do. So at Disney World currently, there are 3 Star Wars themed attractions and they can all be found over at Hollywood Studios. Now, the majority of what we are going to talk about today for Star Wars at Disney World is at Hollywood Studios. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about like what parks you want to visit or how much time you want to spend in certain parks. Like if Star Wars is your thing, you're going to want a full day at least in Hollywood Studios to kind of get some experiences in with this. So those 3 attractions are Star Tours, Rise of the Resistance, and Smuggler's Run. So a brief note about those. We've talked about these in several different various episodes on Mom Street, but just some notes about the fact that Star Tours is kind of the OG Star Wars ride, right? It has existed the longest of those 3. Now, the thing that's a little tricky, and we find this at both coasts, is Star Tours does not exist in the same realm and mindset as Rise of the Resistance and Smuggler's Run. Star Tours is meant to feel more like a movie set that you're walking into. So it's not meant to feel like you are truly immersed in the story, although it does feel like that as you're riding that attraction. But as you approach Star Tours, you will see that there are big AT-ATs or AT-ATs, depending on which camp you're in for that pronunciation. Outside, you're going to see some different movie props and things like that feel like they belong in the movies, but it's not truly meant to feel like you are immersed inside of the story, which is why it is not found inside of Galaxy's Edge. It is found outside of that area of the park. That's purposeful. That's why they didn't move it when they created Galaxy's Edge, right? Because it's meant to be more of a movie set. That's why it's so close to Backlot Express. That's why it existed previously close to the Streets of America and the Backlot Tour. All those things that used to exist at Hollywood Studios made more sense for Star Tours when that all existed. Well, now that a lot of that has been changed and transformed and all of that, and we now have Galaxy's Edge, I understand the confusion, but I just wanted to kind of give you that little nugget to help you kind of understand. Because Rise of the Resistance and Smuggler's Run both are inside of Galaxy's Edge on the planet of Batuu, and they are meant to feel like you are inside of the movies. All of the people that are there are portraying characters. All of the cast members that you come across on those attractions are citizens of Batu, right? So there's a little bit of you know, the character and the acting that goes into it when it comes to things that are on planet in Galaxy's Edge, which is most of what we're going to be talking about here. Um, so just a brief note about that, and I may refer to that a little bit later because we're going to talk about characters here shortly, and some things to kind of differentiate between those. So just keep that in mind. So those are your three attractions: Star Tours, Rise of the Resistance, Smuggler's Run. Star Tours is a simulator ride where you sit down and it's like you're flying with C-3PO and R2-D2 to various different Star Wars related locations. Rise of the Resistance is an incredible attraction that deeply immerses you into Rey's storyline with the Resistance and, Resistance camp and Kylo Ren and trying to escape and those types of things. Again, I don't want to do too many spoilers if you're like first time Star Wars fan visiting this, like don't want to do that. So that one's a little bit different, and it's got several kind of pre-shows that work you through the storyline. And then Smuggler's Run is similar in some ways to Star Tours in that it is like a motion simulator, but it is a 6-person ride vehicle where you each have a job. So you've got 2 pilots that are in charge of controlling and flying the ship. You've got 2 gunners, and you've got 2 engineers that are in charge of like fixing things as you go through your adventure there. So all fabulous, fabulous attractions. And all really, really fun to plan for if you are a Star Wars fan. So let's move on to talk about shows. Now, sadly, there were some other shows that previously used to exist that were Star Wars themed. We used to have the Jedi Training Academy that was over near Star Tours. You know, there used to be Star Wars weekends that they would do and things like that. Currently, as we are recording this podcast in March of 2026, none of that currently exists. But the closest thing to a show that you get actually features Kylo Ren and some of the stormtroopers, and that is the First Order Search for the Resistance. And that show takes place various times throughout the day, and it takes place by the ship that I believe, and don't come for me Star Wars people, I'm doing my best, is called the TIE Echelon, and it is the one that can be found closest to the milk stand if you are locating that area on your trip to Batu. And that is a show that features Kylo Ren. He comes out of the ship and interacts with the crowd and talks about, searching for the Resistance in that. So that is a super fun little show that you can experience. It's a little more interactive. They're walking around in the crowds and kind of interacting with guests that are there visiting. So that is super fun. If you are a Kylo Ren fan, that is something that, or you're really interested in seeing that, definitely put that on your list for sure. A couple other things that you can see Star Wars related at Hollywood Studios. And again, all of this we've been talking about so far is Hollywood Studios. I will make sure you know if it's not. Let's talk about characters. So circling back a little bit to the characters that we talked about, or the way that we talked about Star Tours versus the other rides being off planet versus on planet. The characters follow a similar structure in that currently where we're at, again, March of 2026, there is only one Star Wars character that meets outside of Galaxy's Edge. So because of that character interaction is structured completely differently from the other character interactions on planet. So Darth Vader currently is the only character that meets outside of Galaxy's Edge. He was over at Star Wars Launch Bay. That has been closed for refurb and will not be opening in the same way that we knew it. It's going to be a completely new experience over there. So Darth Vader has been relocated over to like the side queue area of Star Tours. So if you are already going to Star Tours, you can kind of piggyback that character meet with that. And this is a true like standard structured character meet. You wait in line, there's a character handler there, you get to take a picture and have an interaction, all that kind of thing. So this is a true character meet with Darth Vader. He is the only one that has that true character meet feel. The other characters, and I'm about to list them all for you and tell you where you can find them, are all characters that exist on planet. So they are not standard character meet and greets. They are not, I wait in line, I go up, I take a photo, I get a signature, I move on. None of these are that way. These are character interactions that you can happen upon. You can take photos, but it's not like I'm going to stop and take a picture with everybody situation. So keep that in mind. These characters can all be found various times throughout the day. And again, always refer to your app, check your times, make sure you know kind of where they're going to be and when they're going to be so you don't miss them. But we talked about the stormtroopers. The stormtroopers also, after the show, tend to roam for a while outside of the TIE echelon ship. So that corridor that leads from the milk stand past Oga's, which we'll talk about all of this briefly, and kind of towards the Millennium Falcon, that area is where you're going to be most likely to run into a stormtrooper. And they will interact with you. They are fabulous to interact with. They do a great job. But again, not a standard character meet and greet. Kylo Ren, same thing. At the TIE echelon near the milk stand, he does come down into the crowd a little bit. He is not as free roaming as frequently as the stormtroopers. So if you want to see Kylo Ren, you do need to kind of make it to that First Order search for the Resistance show, because that's going to be your best bet in being able to see him. Chewbacca. So Chewbacca, again, was one that had frequently visited over in the, the name just escaped me. Over in the, I just said it earlier, where Darth Vader used to meet. And now I can't remember what it's called. Help me out. Oh my gosh. This is my brain today, you guys. You met Darth Vader for the first time. That's so fun, Vinny. Launch Bay. There it is. Found it. Okay. So he is a character that did used to meet over with Darth Vader in the Star Wars Launch Bay area. Again, that area has been closed for a complete refurb. So he is now only found on planet, and you typically find him near the Millennium Falcon. So underneath where that ship is in Galaxy's Edge, there's like a little fence line kind of that kind of keeps it all contained. So you will find him wandering in there. Occasionally he's also over on the other side of Galaxy's Edge near the droid depot where those ships are as well. He'll be wandering through there occasionally. And sometimes you do find him wandering through the the pathways as he's moving from place to place. So lots of different places that you may find Chewbacca if that's somebody that you want. And the same thing goes with Rey. Rey is often found over by the Millennium Falcon. She can be found over by the other ships on the other side near the droid depot. She can be found wandering through the pathways. So it's more of a happenstance when you find those two characters. They're not as set as far as like where and when they're going to appear as like the stormtroopers and Kylo Ren are. So keep that in mind. You may have to do a little bit of hunting to find them and have that interaction that you're looking for with them. A couple other characters, Vi Marati, which is a character that was created for Galaxy's Edge and Batuu. We talked about her briefly back with our episode with Stevie that we talked about like how to read Star Wars. She is a super fun character, so look her up if you haven't heard about her. But she is a character that was created for the parks, and she, same way, you can just kind of happen upon her as she is doing her missions across Batuu. Keep an eye out for her, definitely. And then the final character that I want to talk about is the Mandalorian and Grogu. This is by far the most popular character meet and greet, quote unquote meet and greet, because it's not, again, the standard meet and greet in Galaxy's Edge. It's the newest one. It tends to be very chaotic if you are planning to meet the Mandalorian and Grogu. So definitely be patient. Definitely get to the time early if you can, because even though these characters are not standard meet and greets, they do have times in the app. So check your My Disney Experience app and see what time it is that he is planning to come out. So that way you know when to kind of position yourself accordingly. So where he meets is at the end of the Black Spire Market. So there's a big marketplace that connects from the one end of Batu through Ronto Roasters and kind of towards the Docking Bay 7 and the Millennium Falcon area. That end towards Rise of the Resistance is going to be the end that you are going to find the Mandalorian. And again, you want to get there early. You want to be prepared to be patient because there is no line. He will interact and approach people. Please give him space. That is one of the really hard things about this particular character interaction, is that it tends to be very, very busy, and people tend to get very, very close because they're excited and they want to meet him and they want to get their chance to interact and take a selfie or a photo or whatever they are looking for. Just be aware of the personal space and the personal bubbles, right? And wait your turn. That's all I'm going to say for that. But just be aware of that. But you can find him again near the end of Black Spire Market, kind of towards the Rise of the Resistance side for that. And that kind of wraps up our character list. Like I said, those are the standard characters that you find daily wandering through, or if you're Darth Vader, meeting outside of the attraction over there. There have been events where, like specialty events where we've seen, there have been other specialty events where we've seen other characters that have popped up, but generally speaking, those are the characters that you're going to find all at Hollywood Studios for your perfect Star Wars day. Next thing we're going to talk about is food options here in just a moment. Hi, Dan. Okay. Oh. I need to drink this coffee so that my brain can wake up. Ugh. Remind me to not steal these ears from my daughter again, because they are very tight on my head. It's not an enjoyable experience. Okay, we're gonna keep going. Thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for hanging. I know it's not super exciting when I'm just recording, but I appreciate you all being here. So, with food for your perfect Star Wars day, there are a ton of options. Despite it all being fairly centrally located in Galaxy's Edge and in that one area of Hollywood Studios, there's a lot to choose from. So, I'm going to kind of run down all of the different food snack options and kind of talk about what type of food they are and what you can find there and those types of things. So let's jump into that list. What does that sound in the background? That would be my dryer running. Sorry if it's a little loud in the background. Hopefully it's not too bad when I'm talking, but I have no choice but to get my children's laundry done today. If I'm being completely honest with you. My dryer is also breaking, which is why it sounds so loud and obnoxious, but that's okay. That's okay. Totally fine. Okay. So the first restaurant that you can look into whenever you are visiting Galaxy's Edge at Hollywood Studios is Docking Bay 7. This is the biggest, most popular quick service restaurant that can be found inside of Galaxy's Edge. They have a pretty wide menu, but be warned that some of the names on the menu are a little bit different than maybe like your standard options. So they have things like a chicken tip yip there that is super popular, which is kind of just like it's chicken, right? So just read those descriptions, kind of get an idea of what type of food it is that they serve. They serve Ronto wraps also here after 3 p.m. We'll talk about the other location you can get them before 3 p.m. here in just a moment. They have some more exploratory flavors, but they also have a lot of really standard options here as well. And the nice thing about this is that you can mobile order, and I do highly suggest you mobile order here. They have a good amount of seating, but seating can be tricky depending on the time of year, the time of day, how busy it is, all of those types of things for that. The next location we're going to talk about is Katsaka's Kettle. This is a stand that is like a snack stand that is found inside of the marketplace. And it's got primarily popcorn at the Disney World location. You'll find at Disneyland that is actually not the case, which I thought was really interesting. So mostly popcorn options here. They've got a blue buttered grains, and then they have an Outpost popcorn mix, which is like a sweet and spicy mix. And this is where the infamous cold brew black calf drink can be found. So this went viral, oh gosh, I don't know, 3 years ago or so. At Disneyland, and then it came over to Disney World shortly after that. But it is Joffrey's coffee topped with like a sweet cream cheese foam and Cocoa Puffs. So it is the super popular option over at Katsaka's. I do recommend you mobile order because you can. That will save you some time because that line can get long inside of that marketplace, because it's a very convenient location if you're walking through and shopping at the little stores and kiosks that are in there. You get to the end and you go, ooh, popcorn, that sounds good, right? So I do highly suggest you mobile order. And just a note, if you are someone that likes to partake or indulge, you can get your cold brew black calf spiked, which I didn't realize. So if that's your option, or if that's what you like to do, you can do that there. And again, like I did mention, they do have mobile order available. The next little kiosk that we're going to talk about, I actually already mentioned when we were talking about the Thai Echelon ship and that show with Kylo Ren and the Stormtroopers, and that is the milk stand. Now, don't let this confuse you or concern you. They are not truly serving milk as you would think. So they have 2 different colors of milk, but it is all coconut and rice milk based. So it is not true dairy filled milk on a hot day in the Florida sun. It is actually very refreshing. So here they do have a blue milk that is coconut and rice milk with fruity characteristics. And then they have a green milk, which is the coconut and rice milk with citrus and tropical. So it's a little bit more, you definitely can taste the citrus in the green milk. I really like the blue milk. I don't like citrus as much as I do kind of the more fruity based, so I really like the blue milk there. They also have these Kessel Run rations, which is a pretzel croissant sprinkled with a smoked sea salt and served with a caramel chocolate sauce. Now, the food at the milk stand does tend to kind of rotate in and out. It's not always consistent. So definitely look up the menu if you are wanting to try that to make sure it's still there. The other thing that they offer there is this Tempo Swirl Crunchies cereal drink. And it is blue milk with raspberry jelly, kind of like, you know, at Starbucks when they like put the syrup on the sides of the cup for you, they do that with raspberry jelly with this drink, and then they top it with Nerds, which is so interesting. So that is something to consider if that's what you want from the milk stand. And they do also do mobile order. So that is, again, something else to consider when you are looking at what you want to get. The milk stand is typically pretty quick because they don't have as many offerings, and they can get through the orders fairly quick. So it's not as crucial here that you mobile order, if that makes sense. So keep that in mind. Do what you will with that. I sometimes mobile order there. I sometimes don't. It just really depends on the day with that one. 2 more locations that we've got to talk about. This next one, I again, I think I've mentioned both of these actually already in this episode. It's hard not to when you're talking about one area of the park, but let's talk about Oga's Cantina. So, Oga's Cantina is a fully immersed Star Wars bar with themed drinks and a few appetizers. This is a very popular location inside of Galaxy's Edge. You do need a reservation, so make sure that you do that, because despite it not being like a full table service, they do require reservations. They do also have some same day walk up options, and if they have enough staffing, they also have like a to go option where you can stand and wait, and just the cast member will let you in to just go to the bar, order, get your drinks, and then walk out. So ask the cast member outside if you don't want to like spend time going in, but you want to try something from in there, and see if they have like the walk up or the to go options available for that day. Because they did when we were there at the end of May last year. And I had never even known that that was an option before. So, something good to keep in mind if you are going to be potentially visiting Galaxy's Edge and you want to try something from Oga's, but maybe don't want to spend an hour inside there, right? So that is a super, super popular, really, really fun option in there. And despite it being a bar, really, truly, it is very family friendly inside. The only thing I will say is that the majority of the spaces inside of Oga's don't have seats. So it's a lot of tabletop, like high top tables, or a lot of the walls, they have like little like alcoves in a lot of the walls in there, and a lot of them just have like a bar top that you can put stuff on, but they don't have like stools. So keep that in mind, because like I didn't take my kids in until this last time when we went, and they were let's see, 6 and 8 when we went inside, and even then I think my kiddos were like, okay, we're tired, we don't want to stand here anymore. They had fun. They like to dance to the music. My daughter got questioned by a stormtrooper that walked into Oga's, which was super fun. So it was a great experience, and they do have a ton of non-alcoholic drinks in there as well. So it is definitely a kid-friendly space, but I wouldn't necessarily take little kids in there because of those couple things. So decide accordingly. Maybe the walk-up option is great. Maybe you do some dividing out if you've got kiddos, and maybe the kiddos run into Toy Story Land to ride alien swirling saucers while you go to Oga's, So decide what works best for your group, but just keep those things in mind about Oga's Cantina. The last food location inside of Galaxy's Edge is Ronto Roasters. This is a quick service, more of like a stand, because there's not a ton of seating. There's a little bit of seating nearby, but it's not like a full quick service restaurant. In the morning, they have things like the Ronto morning wrap, which is like eggs and sausage inside of that, like a pita bread. And they have like overnight oats and some other options there as well. And then once it flips to lunchtime, they have the traditional Ronto wrap. They have Cairo pork rinds. They have a zucchini wrap. So lots of different options there. Not as big of a menu as Docking Bay 7 is going to have, but definitely a really great option if you're looking for that. Now, Ronto Roasters at Hollywood Studios does close fairly early, usually around 3 p.m. is when that location will close. So if you want to eat at Ronto Roasters, I would plan to do it for breakfast or lunch, so you don't miss out on trying any of the food that you might want to try inside of there. And they do mobile order as well. That line can ebb and flow, so I just pretty much always suggest mobile ordering, just because it's going to save you the time when it comes to your busy Disney day. So I would mobile order there. Not a huge deal if you don't, or if you want to, look more at the menu and see kind of what they've got before you decide. That's also definitely something that you can do. So like I said, all of those locations all exist inside of Galaxy's Edge. So tons of food options inside that area. Lots of places to grab a snack or a quick drink if you choose to inside of that area of the park. The next thing we're going to talk about is shopping. So believe it or not, there are actually several shopping locations that are at my mind just went blank, that are at Hollywood Studios for Star Wars stuff. So a couple different things that you've already heard me talk about. There is a marketplace area inside of Galaxy's Edge. And inside that marketplace, there are several little like kiosks. They're not even really kiosks. They're just like little tiny shops that exist in there. And they have a lot of really fun, different things that you can look for if you are visiting there. Some things to note with that is, I'm trying to make sure here. Sorry, give me a second. Where is, I forgot to write down the name of the, oh, I need shops. I forgot to write down the name of the shop outside of Star Tours. As I'm looking at my list, I am realizing this. What is it called? I am drawing a blank. Shopping. I'm going to kick myself as soon as I hear this because I'm going to go, that's what it's called. Star Traders? Is it Star Traders? Tatooine Traders. That's what it is. Right? Am I crazy? Star Traders is the one over in Tomorrowland, I think. Anna, if I'm remembering correctly. I think that one is Tatooine Traders. Okay. Got it. Did it. Okay. I'm gonna do that again because I was very distracted trying to multitask in that, and I did not do a very good job of introing this section of the podcast. Star Traders is in MK. No, you're good, Anna. And that's like, you said that. I was like, yeah, that's, wait, what is it? Okay, we're good. All good. So inside of Batuu, you can find this marketplace. They call it the Black Spire Marketplace, and it is kind of centrally located inside of Galaxy's Edge. And inside of the marketplace, it's kind of a partially covered area where you've got these little tiny shops on either side as you walk through. So in there, you can find things like the Creature Stall, the Toydarian Toy Maker, Black Spire Outfitters, so lots of themed stuff. Again, all of this is to be like you are living inside of their universe. You're not going to find inside of Batuu things that say Star Wars on them. Because to them, that movie franchise doesn't exist. They are just living their lives as Batuans on their planet. So you will find outfits, but they're not going to be like Star Wars merch, if that makes sense, in this particular location. So keep that in mind, and I'll talk about where you can find actual Star Wars merch here in just a moment. So those different things are inside of the marketplace, if you're looking for those. Also in the realm kind of out the one end as you're going towards the Millennium Falcon, you can find Doc Ondar's Den of Antiquities, and that is where you will find the lightsabers. So we're going to talk a little bit more about lightsabers and building your own lightsabers actually just here in a moment, but that is where you will find like certain character lightsabers or certain kind of pre-made lightsabers are inside of that shop. A couple other shops that you can find that are actually not on planet. So these next two that I'm going to mention are ones that you will find that do have Star Wars merchandise. The first is Tatooine Traders, and this is the merchandise location that you walk through when you exit Star Tours. So we already talked about that Star Tours is not on planet, right? It's outside of the realm of that. So you will find Star Wars spirit jerseys and lounge flies. You'll find the more plastic lightsabers there, pins and all of those types of merch that you're used to seeing in Disney shops, you're going to find that at tattooing traders. So if you're in the park and you want that type of stuff, tattooing traders is your location you're going to go to. The other location that you can find Star Wars merchandise is at Disney Springs. So this is the one of the locations that is not at Hollywood Studios. Remember, I told you the majority of what we're talking about is at Hollywood Studios. This is not. This is at Disney Springs, which Disney Springs is the shopping center location at Disney on property. And that is the Galactic Outpost store at Disney Springs. And it is sort of, how is the best way that I can describe where it is? Because here's the deal, Disney Springs is complicated and confusing. So the best way that I can tell you is that it is in the west side of Disney Springs. It is actually next door to the Marvel store, but again, that doesn't really truly help depending on what you know and what you're familiar with. It is kind of near the movie theater, so you kind of can go down past and around the corner from the movie theater, and it is also near the like Planet Hollywood and near the Starbucks over on that side. So if that kind of gives you some different points to look for when you're trying to find that location. But again, they're going to have similar things to like what Tattooing Traders had. They may have a few things from the Batuan marketplace stores, but mostly it's going to be that traditional Star Wars merch. So those are your locations if you're looking for kind of more standard merchandise with the Star Wars logo or the name or characters on it, things like that. You can find them at either Tattooing Traders inside of Hollywood Studios or at the Galactic Outpost at Disney Springs. So that brings us to my kind of other fun category when it comes to doing our perfect Star Wars day, because believe it or not, that's only about half of the information when it comes to Star Wars things at the park. So let's talk about what else we can do if we are trying to plan that perfect Star Wars day in just a moment. Bad Star Wars fan. Oh, you're fine, Anna. No ice cream served anywhere in Batu. That makes sense, though. Because they probably don't have ice cream in Star Wars, I suppose, right? That does kind of make sense. You guys can hear probably, I still have not gotten rid of this cold. It has been 3 weeks. So give me a moment here. Okay. But yeah, I never thought about ice cream, but that makes sense. You could grab ice cream. There's that gelato shop kiosk that's right outside of where Muppet Courtyard used to be. Or if you're on the other side, I know they've got ice cream inside of Toy Story. I don't know if they have ice cream at that new shop that's on that end. There's that new little snack kiosk that is like if you are in Galaxy's Edge and you're walking to Toy Story, there's that new location on that end. I don't know if they have ice cream there or not. I feel like it's a standard like popcorn cart, so they probably have like Mickey bars and stuff there. But I have never thought about that. I like ice cream, but I'm not a huge ice cream person. Is the gelato place still there? I thought they moved it outside the walls, but maybe not, Anna. Because it was like inside. You're right, now that I think about where it was. I thought they moved it outside, but maybe they didn't. Maybe it's just closed. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if I can find it on my map that I already have pulled up. Because it's down from Star Tours, right? No, AI, I do not want you to summarize the page that I'm on. Oh my gosh. Let's see. No, I want the map. There we go. Oh, you know what? It might just be that. What's that little Coke shop that's right there? The Coca-Cola little, like, hy- what is it called? Hydraulic something? You guys, where is my brain today? I feel like they moved it, but maybe not right outside of the walls. Yeah, I wonder. Let's see. You know what? I have an app for that. I have an app for that. Let's look at mode. Let's search gelato and see if I can find any. No such thing as Batu. Yeah, that's cool, Vinny. I like that. Okay, gelato. Let's see if we're searching gelato. And we're going to Hollywood Studios. Man, there's a lot of gelato in Epcot. Boardwalk, Disney Springs. I can't wait till they get the sort feature out on here. I don't see any gelato in Hollywood Studios right now. Disney Springs, Swan, Boardwalk, Saratoga, Epcot. Yeah, I don't see any. Welcome to Mode. I don't see any gelato in there. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Well, there we go. So I guess you can't get gelato on that side. But that little, what is that kiosk called? Because whatever that kiosk is, I wonder if they have dining. Oops, too far. Ice cold hydraulics. I said hydraulics. I was close. Let's see. They have Mickey premium bars and Mickey ice cream sandwiches there. Oh, and they also have that, like, those, like, frozen lemonades too. So those are your closest place. Oh yeah, let's look and see. So that other, the new location. Oh yeah, see that new location on this end of Toy Story is not on Mode. Is it on the other one? Now I'm so interested. Sorry. Give me a moment here to satisfy my need to know. It says popcorn and snacks. I bet you they have ice cream there, if I had to guess. They don't have a menu because none of the little kiosks have menus on My Disney Experience, because why would they, right? Why would they? So, anyways, let's talk about other things, shall we? Okay. So a couple things that you can do inside of Galaxy's Edge that we haven't talked about yet. The first one is Savi's Workshop, which is where you can custom build your own lightsaber. So we talked a little bit about lightsabers earlier. Doc Ondar's is where you find the ones that are pre-made or that are characters or those types of things. Tattooing Traders, you can find the more plastic kid versions of lightsabers. But Savi's is where you will do your custom built lightsabers. So reservations are required for Savi's and can be made 60 days ahead of time. The lightsabers currently, again, prices can change, but they currently go for $274.99 per lightsaber. So definitely an investment, definitely not a toy. So keep that in mind if you've got a Star Wars kiddo. These are very expensive lightsabers. So just putting that out there. And no discounts apply, unfortunately. So annual pass discounts, CVC discounts, any of that, they don't take those. It does include a carrying case. This is recommended. The experience is recommended for ages 5 and up. You can have 2 people per reservation. One will do the building and the other is just like there with them to watch, hang out, have the experience with them. And one of those two that are on there must be at least 14 years of age. So if you've got two kiddos that you want to send to do it, one of them has to be at least 14, and it's recommended that the youngest is 5 if you are wanting to send your little in to do that experience. It is a 31-inch blade, if that matters to any of you who are Star Wars lightsaber people. And you choose your hilt theme based on the options that they have. So it varies in what they have in stock, but they have like 5 or 6 different options as far as like themes on the hilt style that you can choose from. And you select that when you go to your actual reservation. So that's not something that you pick ahead of time. You will do it like when you check into your reservation. This is a really, really fun, really immersive, super cool experience to have. I definitely agree with the 5 and up because you want to make sure that your littles are careful and can listen to what they're supposed to be doing, because they kind of walk you through the process of how to build it and putting the kyber crystals in and all that kind of stuff. So you definitely want to have them be able to follow those directions and kind of understand what it is they're doing. But a super really, really cool experience to have. Another really fun experience is the Droid Depot. So this is where you do custom built droids. So they have custom built lightsabers and also custom built droids. You can, again, buy standard droids inside of some of the shops. I think Doc Ondar's actually is the shop that has the standard droids inside of it, but this is where you go if you want to customize your own. Again, reservations are required for this experience and can be made 60 days out. They do have limited same-day reservations available. You're going to want to check your My Disney Experience app for that, and then or check the website to see what's available for that. A couple different options that you have at the Disney World version of this, because you can do this in Disneyland, but they actually have other options out there. So we'll talk about that here briefly, or here shortly, I should say. You can do either a BB series, think BB-8, or you can do an R series, so think R2-D2, right? So those are the two different droid options that they have. You will choose your pieces kind of as they pass by you on a conveyor belt. It's a really, really cool setup that they have for this experience. And the droids are currently $129.99 plus tax, and again, no discounts apply. They do include a carrying box with your reservation. You can also purchase like specialty backpacks and other things that you can use to carry your droid. So, but at the very minimum, you're going to have at least a box to put it in to be able to carry it with you. This is recommended for ages 3 and up, and I would agree with that. And same thing, you can have 2 people on your reservation time, one that actually does the building and the other one that kind of is just there with them. And at least one of the 2 of those must be at 14 years or older. And also keep in mind with the droids, they have recently rolled out more of these, but there are kind of various personality affiliation chips and other accessories that you can buy for an additional charge. So the $129.99 is just like your standard flat rate for starting, but if you want to do any specialty personality chips or things like that, those are an additional cost for that. So those are the 2 expensive options of more fun things that you can do in the when you are visiting to make your day your very perfect Star Wars day. The next 2 things that I'm going to talk about actually have to do with the Disney Play app. So a couple different things that you can do on there while you are inside of Galaxy's Edge, and both of these are so much fun. The first one is the Star Wars Datapad mode. So this is on the Disney Play app. So you're going to want to download that app. It is separate from My Disney Experience, but you're going to want to download that app before your trip and have it kind of logged in and ready to go. And you will activate, it will like prompt you to activate the Star Wars Datapad like set of skills and adventures on your app. So once you do that, you're going to find many different tools on the phone that will let you explore the planet. You can choose to translate a variety of languages from across the galaxy, including Arabic signs throughout the Black Spire outpost. So anytime you see stuff written on signs or on buildings and it's written in Star Wars language, Arabic, it will help you translate that. You can scan objects around the spaceports to discover different precious cargo and kind of go on adventures that way. Excuse me. You can also tune and decrypt communications sent by the planet's many residents. So they kind of have different things that you can interact with that. And then you can also use the Star Wars data pad to kind of hack into and interact with several different devices, control panels, and droids that are out and around for Galaxy's Edge. So that is a super fun way if you've got a kiddo that is able to kind of handle manipulating an app, which, you know, most of our littles can by the time they would be interested in doing something like that. That is a super fun way to kind of interact with the location and the area around them. Certain games on that Play Disney app will also interact with things in the queue and the areas around Rise of the Resistance and Smuggler's Run. So if you are looking for more things to do while you're waiting in line, that app may be a benefit for you to have. The other really fun thing that it does is bounty hunting. So over on the side of the planet that is kind of near the droid depot, there is a screen kind of located across from the end of the marketplace and down from the droid depot area, where you can use a Magic Band Plus and you can go bounty hunting. So you kind of join the bounty hunters in your typical Star Wars area, and you literally play a giant game of hot and cold across all of Galaxy's Edge. And you're looking for different bounties, and your Magic Band will light up red as you get further away, light up green as you get closer, and then it will turn purple when you have found your bounty. And with your Play app, you can scan and actually see who it was that you were looking for. So that is a really fun game. Super fun to play. I suggest doing that one when it starts to get a little bit darker, because it's easier to see the like LEDs on your Magic Band when it's a little bit darker outside. So I would highly suggest not doing that like mid-afternoon when the sun is really bright and it's really hard to see. But super, super fun thing that you can do with your Play or Disney Play app and your Magic Band is that bounty hunting. And my kids loved it. They thought it was so much fun. They love getting to run around and try to find all the things they're supposed to be looking for. So super cool with that. One last thing that I want to talk about before I give you my little suggested itinerary for your perfect Star Wars day at Disney World, and then we'll jump to Disneyland, is a couple different photo things that you can think about when you are visiting Batuu. The first we've talked about before, which is the Capture Your Moment session. So these are those 20-minute private photo sessions that you can book for up to 8 guests. They cost $99 for the 20 minutes. And they actually have specific ones for Galaxy's Edge. So they have one location that you can do in front of the Millennium Falcon, and then they have another one that you can do in front of the First Order. Let me try that again. And then they have another one that you can do in front of the First Order shuttle and some of the ships there as well. You can also choose to do it by the Black Spire Outpost, so different options kind of in that marketplace, and near some of the ancient ruin spaces across all of Batuu as well. So again, it is $99 for up to 8 people that can be included. Reservations are required for that, and they can be made 60 days out. Now, with those Capture Your Moment sessions, same day reservations are sometimes available, but you have to do at least 2 hours ahead of time. So like if it's 10 a.m., you can't book an 11 a.m. time because they can't accommodate that. It would have to be like noon or later. So just keep that in mind as you're looking for any same day availability if you decide last minute that you want to book that. The other thing that you can keep an eye out for in the evening time, primarily around the Millennium Falcon area and kind of between the Millennium Falcon and the TIE Echelon, where we've talked about that corridor before where like the stormtroopers are and stuff. And that is the lightsaber photos. These are so fun. So most evenings starting around sunset, this is an offering that you will find, and it's at specific PhotoPass cast members. Not every PhotoPass cast member is going to be doing it. You will be able to tell because those cast members, let me try that again. you will be able to tell which cast member it is because they will have lightsabers that you can borrow for these photo ops. Now, you are also welcome to use your own, absolutely, for sure, but they have different ones that you can borrow, different colors and things, and they've got a couple different locations that they do these photos. So by the Millennium Falcon is one. There's a doorway kind of diagonally across from the entrance to Oga's Cantina where they do a lot of them too, like really cool poses in that, like, it's just like a nonchalant doorway, but it looks really, really cool in photos, so you can get photos there. But that is a really, really fun thing to do at the end of your Star Wars day. And you don't have to worry about whether or not you have your own lightsaber because they're going to have one that you can borrow. So super, super fun thing to do. And that is kind of different and unique and maybe people don't know about. So that is kind of the end of my list of things for Hollywood Studios. Now, with that list, let's talk about just briefly, and this is going to be pretty quick and simple as I go through this. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but let's talk about my suggested itinerary for if you want to do all Star Wars all day and do as many of these things that I mentioned as possible on your Star Wars day. So, here's my suggestion for you for Hollywood Studios. Again, this is going to be Hollywood Studios. I know we talked about there's one location at Disney Springs. We're not going to Disney Springs if we're trying to get as much in as we possibly can, right? So, my suggestion for Hollywood Studios for your perfect Star Wars day is to rope drop Smuggler's Run. You can check on Rise of the Resistance. It doesn't like to open in the morning. If it does open, go there first. If it's not opened, then hit Smuggler's Run. You could always book a single pass lightning lane for Rise of the Resistance if that's within your budget or something that you choose to budget for. So that's what I would do first, is head there, try to get Smuggler's Run and Rise of the Resistance done as soon as you possibly can, because those lines get long. So keep that in mind. Also, do remember that Smuggler's Run has a single rider line, so if that's an option for your group, that is a great way to be able to do it again, or, do it later on in the day if you choose to. I would grab something to eat at breakfast. Let me try that again. I would grab something to eat for breakfast at Ronto Roasters. They have some really great breakfast options there, and it's pretty quick and easy. And then I would do maybe a late morning reservation for either building a droid or a lightsaber. Again, if that's within your budget and something that you would like to do, that would be when I would choose to do that. You could do then grabbing some lunch at Ronto Roasters again, because remember that menu switches over halfway through the day. So you could grab the afternoon Ronto wrap, and then you could do either a to-go drink from Oga's or grab an Oga's reservation for right after lunch to go in, get out of the heat, enjoy some drinks and some atmosphere, have a good time there. After that, I would suggest in the afternoon doing some of those data pad explorations on that Play Disney app and looking, maybe doing some character hunting and seeing what characters you can find. Shopping at the marketplace is a fun way to get out of the direct sun. It's not completely covered in AC, but you definitely get out of the sun in there. And that is a great time to look at the wait for Star Tours. Star Tours is a very high capacity ride, and it typically doesn't have too long of a wait. I wouldn't wait longer than 10 or 15 for Star Tours. So if it's like 35, you hit it at a bad time, come back in an hour and check it again with that. That'll take up most of your afternoon time, is kind of just exploring and running around and having fun with all of that. Dinner at Docking Bay 7, mobile order ahead of time so that way you don't get stuck in the dinner rush would be my suggestion. And then after that, last chances to do anything that you maybe missed, evening photos, lightsaber photos, and I like to visit the milk stand at night because I think it's a nice little kind of sweet treat to end your evening time inside of Galaxy's Edge. So that would be my brief overview of suggestions as far as what I would say to do on your perfect Star Wars day. Obviously, you can pick and choose and manipulate that as you need to for your particular interests. If you are someone that really likes the rides and you want to spend more time, going on the rides over and over and over again, or you want to focus on characters or shopping, lots of different things that you can do in that as well. It's kind of surprising how much they fit into one area of Hollywood Studios, right? It's pretty impressive, all of the food and shopping and experience options that they have inside of there. So that is kind of our Hollywood Studios Disney World options for your perfect Star Wars day. Now let's jump coasts and talk about Disneyland here in just a moment. These ears are giving me a headache. Okay. Yes, the photo sessions are so great. And I agree, they are a lot heavier. I did one with my daughter. Oh gosh, that was 2022, I think, is when we did hers. And she was little, and it was like, okay, hold it with two hands. Please don't drop it. Because we borrowed them from the cast members. But yeah, it was a lot. So you want to build another lightsaber? They're so expensive. I really want... Oh, Sarah, you want to do one? Yeah. I really want to let my son do one, but he's just like not quite there yet. And I mean, my Andrew would love to do one, but it's an investment. And it's an investment that hangs on the wall, right? So like, my kids, I think Carter has two of the, or sorry, I shouldn't say his name. I'm going to have to edit that out. Oh, my brain. My kiddo has two lightsabers, and my daughter, you guys. Okay. And my daughter has one lightsaber. My brain is just not firing today. So they're so pricey, and I just like, he's 9. We're not there yet, right? We're not there yet. The ceremony is really, really cool though, Anna. I agree. Milk stand got us into overcrowded area during May the 4th. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the hub of all of the May the 4th stuff, right? Yep, my brain is, good thing this is the last work I have to do today. Oh, man. Okay, let's power through this Disneyland stuff, because clearly my brain is deteriorating. I thought it would get better the more coffee I drank. It is clearly not. So, I got to keep this moving. So, okay. So let's talk about Disneyland. It's been a minute since we've talked Disneyland on Mom Street, but that's definitely something that I'm wanting to get back to. So let's talk about Disneyland. Disneyland and Okay. So the Disneyland version and the Walt Disney World version of Batuu experiences are very similar in the way they are geographically set up. So I'm not going to go into a ton of details about the things that are the same as what we just talked about, but I will highlight differences and still give you the rundown of what you can find in different locations. All of that being said, Disneyland is getting a lot of new updates to their Galaxy's Edge coming very, very soon. So their timeline of who and what exists on planet is going to shift very, very soon. So beginning April 29th of 2026, which is, a little less than 2 months away from when we're recording this, Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland Park will expand its timeline to include more of the Star Wars eras. So Darth Vader will be on planet, Leia Organa will be on planet, Han Solo and Luke Skywalker will all arrive on Batuu, joining the other beloved characters roaming around the Outer Rim. Joining the other beloved characters that are already roaming the Outer Rim outpost. So they're going to be added to what is already existing there. Rey and the Resistance will continue their fight against the First Order in the Resistance camp. So they're keeping Rey and all of those and adding to, which is super exciting. The other thing that they're adding, which is probably not a big deal to many of you, but is a big deal to me because I'm a total music nerd, is that they are going to bring in the musical selections from John Williams, who is the composer of all of the Star Wars film scores, and it's going to be played throughout the land. That music is going to be incredible to experience as you are walking through Batuu. I am so excited for this experience to be over in Disneyland. I cannot wait to go in a few years and kind of experience all of that. So that is super, super cool to hear about. So keep all of those things in mind. I am going to mention what is currently here and talk about kind of what they currently have to offer at Disneyland for their offerings for your perfect Star Wars day. Again, I'm not going to go into detail about the ones that I already talked about, so keep that in mind. Couple different things that they have here as far as attractions go. They do have Star Tours. Their Star Tours is in Tomorrowland. So think about, I should also mention, we talked about Hollywood Studios for Disney World. Batuu and Galaxy's Edge is in Disneyland. So Disneyland, remember, has two parks, Disneyland and Disney's California Adventure. Star Wars is at Disneyland, kind of in the back area of the park. So, but their Star Tours is in Tomorrowland. So don't get confused about that location. Again, same thing goes. It's not meant to be an immersive experience. It's not meant to feel like you're on planet. It's meant to be more like a look into the films. Rise of the Resistance exists on planet for them. Smuggler's Run. Now this, and I didn't mention this before, but this is also the case for Disney World, that in May 2026, May 22nd, 2026, they are going to have new missions coming to Smuggler's Run. So that is a change that's going to happen on both coasts. So look up more information about that if that's something that you are interested in getting to be able to experience whenever you go to visit and ride Smuggler's Run. The other thing that they have over at Disneyland is that Star Wars launch bay. So we talked about how the one at Hollywood Studios has closed for refurb and is not going to exist any longer in the way that it did previously. Well, Disneyland still has Star Wars launch bay, and it is again over in Tomorrowland. And that is where you will find the character meet and greet over there. That is like your standard traditional one. Now for them, it is a Disney Visa card member Star Wars photo op over there. So that is one of those specialty ones for the Disney Visa card holders. The other thing that I do just want to mention in attractions before I jump to shows next is they do occasionally, seasonally, during special events, things like that, have what they call Hyperspace Mountain, which is Space Mountain set to Star Wars music. So that is something that is offered fairly frequently in a rotation over at Disneyland. So if that is something that you are interested in, definitely look up and see if there's any information available about when that may be returning. It is not currently at Disneyland, but it is something that frequently is in rotation. It comes back quite often over in Disneyland for that offering. So shows over in Disneyland, they have a new projection show that they just started. It's not currently running, but again, it's one of those seasonal things. We're not sure exactly when it may or may not come back. I would imagine in April, when these new characters come to Galaxy's Edge, that this will return. And that is the projection show on the spires of Batuu that is called Shadows of Memory, a Skywalker Saga. So it is a Star Wars themed projection show that happens on the spires. Those are like the big pointy things, of Batuu over in Disneyland. No specific word on when or if this is coming back, but I would heavily think that April, May of this year, it will probably come back around. Just my guess. There's no truth to that. Just my guessing when it comes to that show. But I know that those who got to experience it when it was around have said very, very good things about that. So let's talk about characters now. Similar characters to what we heard before. They've got Darth Vader in Star Wars Launch Bay, so that is that off-planet meet and greet. They've got stormtroopers and Kylo Ren that are roaming near the TIE Echelon by the milk stand. They've got Rey by the Millennium Falcon. They've got the Mandalorian and Grogu at the end of their marketplace. They also, though, characters that we don't have at, I say we like it's my park, just the park I'm used to, that Hollywood Studios does not have. They have Boba Fett that appears regularly at that same end of the marketplace where the Mandalorian is. And they also have Ahsoka Tano that comes out there as well. So those three kind of rotate through sets on that end of their marketplace. So Ahsoka, Boba Fett, and the Mandalorian and Grogu can all be seen in that little courtyard type area over there. Now, let's talk about some of these updates that I hinted at earlier, because I've got more details about who is actually coming and where they're going to be and what they're going to be doing, right? So, updates that are coming and this is literally from the Disneyland website, so apologies for the formal wording, I guess. I don't know. But Darth Vader's search for Luke Skywalker will bring him to Batuu. The Sith Lord will be joined by Imperial stormtroopers as they seek the elusive Jedi. They may find hints of the Force around the outpost. So they will be joining everyone inside of Batuu. I don't know what that means for the Star Wars card. Oh my gosh. I don't know what that means for the Disney Visa card holder spot at Disneyland. We'll have to see what they choose to do with that going forward when this happens, because these updates are coming in April. The next update, Leia and Han Solo will be reunited with Luke Skywalker and Chewbacca among the Rocky Spires. So Leia, Han, Luke, and Chewie will all be available to see and interact with. Again, none of these are going to be standard character meet and greets. They're all taking place inside Galaxy's Edge. Luke Skywalker will roam the outpost seeking knowledge of the Force and artifacts related to lightsaber building, kyber crystals, and more. Leia Organa may be spotted near the Millennium Falcon, where she'll recruit travelers and locals to help keep Luke safe. Han Solo will also linger around his prized ship, tempted by the local cantina. You will be able to still encounter Ahsoka and the Mandalorian and Grogu near the marketplace. The forested area on the outskirts of Blackspire Outpost will continue to represent a time inspired by the Age of the Resistance, and you will find Rey around this Resistance camp. So Rey is going to shift away from the Millennium Falcon and be more in the kind of outskirts, as they are describing it here from the website. And the last thing is the beloved starship mechanic and fighter pilot assistant R2-D2 will also continue to roll through the land. So all of those offerings are going to be what you will find starting at the end of April out in Disneyland. So some really fun characters that you can find out there that are completely different than what you're going to find at Disney World. So, maybe your May the 4th plans end you in Disneyland this year instead of Disney World to experience some of that. So you never know, right? So those are kind of your characters for what is currently happening and what is coming. For food, they have all of the same offerings that we already heard about. So Docking Bay 7 is a quick service restaurant there. Do keep in mind that Disneyland's menus do sometimes differ, even if the locations are exactly the same, right? So Docking Bay 7 at Disneyland, typically speaking, Disneyland restaurants get more flavorful and more frequently rotating food than Disney World does. They have a lot more locals that they cater to, so they have to keep things, rotating and keep things a little bit more interesting for them out there. But they do mobile order at their Docking Bay 7. They have Katsakas. This is a snack stand, but this snack stand is very different with their offerings than the one we talked about at Hollywood Studios. So at Hollywood Studios, we said they had they had the buttered grains, the Outpost mix for popcorn, and then that Black Calf cold brew. Well, this location's menu has a black calf slushy currently. They also have a black spire waffle with a dipping sauce, a lyseed popped grains, and crate nutter popped grains. So different menu for Katsakas over there. So keep that in mind. You're not going to find the same offerings there as you did at Hollywood Studios. And they do not do mobile order there. So another thing that is just a little bit different for that location. For the milk stand, they actually have a different milk offering. They do have the blue and green milk, but they now have, that is fairly new over at Disneyland, a pink milk, which is a plant-based rice milk blend with sweet and fruit characteristics. So they have blue and green. They also have pink over there, which I think that is so much fun. They do mobile order at their snack stand as well. For their Oga's Cantina, it is exactly the same as far as being a Star Wars themed bar. But as I'm recording this, their Oga's is currently closed for refurb. And not a ton of information has been put out about what all is happening during this refurb. Other than the fact that Disney has made it known and hinted at the fact that the infamous Cantina band is supposed to be heard in Oga's this year, coming with the new timeline. So the speculation is it may have something to do with that. Before it went under refurb, it did go up to walk-up, or it did change to walk-up availability only. So no reservations were available. Not sure if that will stay or if it'll go back to a reservation system when it reopens, which again, we don't have a date for that. But we do believe that that partially has to do with them making some changes and adjustments for that new updated extended timeline that we're getting over in Batu West, if you will. And then Ronto Roasters is the same quick service restaurant. They do mobile order, but do keep in mind that the menu is similar, but they actually stay open later than the Walt Disney World version. So I talked about that Disney World Ronto Roasters tends to close around 3 p.m. The Ronto Roasters at Disneyland is usually open until 7 or 8 p.m. So a little bit more time to get your Ronto wrap over at Ronto Roasters if you choose to, which also means that Docking Bay 7 doesn't get a Ronto wrap over at Disneyland. You can only get those at Ronto Roasters because they have those extended hours there. Shopping, pretty much identical. You've got the Batuan Marketplace with the Toydarian toy maker. That's like a tongue twister. The Creature Stall, the Black Spire Outfitters. You've got Doc Ondar's Den of Antiquities with the lightsabers. They're off or out of park option for shopping they do have one in downtown Disney, and that is the Star Wars Trading Post. So if you remember the setup of Disneyland, downtown Disney is really kind of attached by sidewalks to the parks. So you can hop right out of Disneyland, or maybe on your way out back to your car, you can stop in that Star Wars Trading Post. That is going to be your stop for Star Wars branded merch. And now let's get to our little other fun category, and that is the stuff we haven't talked about yet, which is Savi's Workshop and the Droid Depot. So we'll talk about Savi's first, since that was the first one we talked about with our Disney World options. These are, again, the custom-built lightsabers. Reservations are required and can be made 60 days out, so same thing there. The interesting thing, and Kate and I kind of started to notice this a while ago on Mom Street, like within the first year or so when we were comparing things from Disney World to Disneyland. Their lightsabers are $249.99 plus tax with no discount. So $30 cheaper at Disneyland than it is at Disney World, which is, we could speculate why. I'm not going to go there other than just that's interesting, right? They do have a carrying case that is included, and again, recommended for 5 and up, with one of the 2 people attending needing to be 14 and older. Again, a 31-inch blade, and you can choose your hilt theme based on availability. And they do seem to be the same lists that they're working off of. Again, subject to availability on both coasts for that. And then the last thing for Disneyland that I want to mention is the Droid Depot information for your custom-built droids. Again, same thing as Disney World at Hollywood Studios. Reservations are required and can be made 60 days out. Limited same-day reservations are available. Now here, is where there are some differences. They're minor, but still some differences. You can do a BB series droid, you can do an R series droid. Then they also have the C series droid. So that is totally different than what you can find over at Disney World. Gosh, my brain. Okay, so that is totally different than what you can find over at Disney World. If you are wondering what is a C series droid, think Chopper. And that should give you an idea of kind of the body shape and makeup of those C series droids. So that is a new thing for Disneyland that we do not have at Disney World. Again, you choose your pieces as they pass by on the conveyor belt. And here's the other difference. We talked about Disney World, the prices, and at Disney World, your price for the droid building was $129.99. At Disneyland, it is $119.99, so $10 cheaper. Again, I don't know, right? And so $119.99 plus tax. And then they also, for the droids, let you use a Magic Key or DVC discount. So if you are someone that is DVC and you're typically going to Disney World, you go to Disneyland, something to keep in mind, because not only is it $10 cheaper over there, but then you also have a discount you can use. Just saying. So again, a little bit different with that. A carrying box is included. You can also, again, purchase backpacks and other things like that to be able to do, to carry your droid around. And again, various personality affiliation chips and other accessories are available for an additional charge there as well. So, we made it to the end of our list of our perfect Star Wars Day options. Now, I'm not going to give you my suggestion for the Disneyland itinerary because number one, I feel like it would be almost the exact same. And number two, I'm just not as familiar with Disneyland to know for certain what their rides do all the time. But I imagine what I have said for Disney World would also apply fairly closely to Disneyland with that itinerary kind of rundown for your perfect Star Wars day. I hope that all this information for all of my Star Wars lovers out there has been super helpful and informative and maybe given you some insight on why things are the way they are and maybe what you can do to plan your itinerary accordingly when you are going to have your perfect Star Wars day at Disney, whether Disney World or Disneyland. Coming up soon here on Mom Street USA, like I mentioned, we are going to be doing some of these other perfect day scenarios. We're going to talk about princesses. We're going to talk about Mickey. If there are other characters that you'd like to hear about, please reach out to me because I would love to help kind of pull and gather all of the information that I can about whatever characters it is that you want to see. So you can always reach me with that or any other information, momstreetusa@gmail.com or at momstreetusa on several social media platforms. We also have our Patreon account, so feel free to comment over there. I'll probably throw up a post over there asking for what other characters you guys might want to hear about. And we'll just kind of sprinkle those little perfect day episodes in here for the coming months of Mom Street episodes. Coming up next week, we have a special treat. We are going to be visited by my very, very good friend Kirk over at Walrus Carp. We're going to be talking about some of the other parks around the Orlando area. So maybe mentioning some things about SeaWorld, Legoland, Busch Gardens, some of those other options for things to do outside of Disney and Universal if you're going there with kiddos. And then he's also going to clue us in to this fabulous new theme park app that he has been working on called Mode. That's MOWD. And that is something that he's going to be explaining to us and giving us some insight to, because I'm telling you all, my lovely Mom Street community, this app is a massive game changer. I have been using it for a while to plan my itineraries. It is so easy to use. So he's going to give us some insight and some good looks at what that has to offer for our Mom Street community. So that is coming up next on Mom Street. But for today, that kind of wraps up our Star Wars chat. Thank you all so much for being here and for always supporting our podcast. And I will see you on the next episode of Mom Street USA. Bye, everyone. And scene. Let me make sure I don't accidentally do this here. Stop recording. Hooray. Okay. Did it. Woo! Made it through. Only had like 14 times where my tongue got tied and I couldn't seem to figure out how to speak today. Man, you guys. And scene. I know we used to end our lives like right at the end after our little spiel, and I didn't like that. I didn't like it. It was too formal, and then I didn't get to like talk to you guys afterwards. Yeah, Kirk's gonna be on. It'll be chaotic. He hasn't been on since like year one of Mom Street because he's been so busy with everything. But I really wanted him to come and talk about mode to give him a platform to be able to talk about that. And I wanted to rack his brain about some of these other theme parks and what is good for kids, different ages, and things like that. So thanks, Wags. Can't wait to use it next week. Yes. You know what I'm most excited about is, I do these lightning lane tours and I help people with their lightning lanes. I'm using mode for their day to help me stay organized, which is like I normally pull out my notes app and just do like a little bullet list. But mode has been so helpful because like I'm helping Kathy B on her upcoming trip and I can list out everything that I'm going to want to help them book, which is going to be super, super helpful to have it kind of all in one place. So it'll be very, very informative. But yeah, next Friday he'll be with us. And then after that, I think we have another hub episode, but I'm going to have to check my list and see what it all is coming down because this month is by far my busiest month of probably the entire year. So I have a lot happening. So I gotta kind of get all my stuff in order for that. So thank you guys for being here. I'm gonna go ahead and hop off because I've gotta run some errands in the hour I have left before I have to pick my kiddos up from school. But thank you guys for hanging. Thanks for being here, and I will chat with you all later. Bye, everyone. Ooh, my heart was like crooked. You couldn't see it. Bye.